Hi, we are recording now the lesson. I think I will have some of today, but not yet. So probably I record alone. Let me go to the lesson I have for you here in the number 12. How to increase responses. I'm gonna increase the light because I think we need more light. So give me 1 second. I'm back. I'm back. I increased a little bit the light. So let's go to the lesson 12 that we're going to do together today. How to increase responses through more effective creative work. It's also now very important because we are in the attention race. Everybody wants your attention. If you are doing through the web, using the web, and also if you are a consumer or creator, both of them in both of the cases, everybody is in this program in the attention market. You as a consumer and also as a producer of content, getting the interest of your audience, because at the end that's that every single activity, interactive and direct marketing activity is looking for is for the attention of the audience that you are serving, and the same for you as a consumer. So let's go with the content today. And also we're gonna do the activity probably. I will show you what we have for today in terms of the content. I will share my screen with you guys. Let me go to share my screen. 1 second. Here in the system. Right now I'm not finding. Yes, I find it. I always sometimes I take some seconds to. Okay, here we are. I'm sharing my screen with you. Yes. So let's go. Reform University, week 12, how to increase response through more effective creative work. Very important, as I was saying now, everybody, all of us are in this war for the attention of your consumers. I will open this way so you can see it better. If you are seeing my screen, yes, you can see everything here. The online visibility is essential for creating brand awareness. What that means, creating different content that really attracts your market, that really attracts your consumers. Effective and personalized. You know how amazing it is when you receive an advertising that have your name included or your preference included. You feel so part of the company. You feel so welcome. You feel so engaged with the service or products that they are announcing the organization. So that's one of the most important things. And you and me as marketers, as business administrators, as creators of contents must have this on our mind. One of the aspects I covered in order to maintain these effective and personalized responses when I am dealing with my customers, I also include their names. Very important to include their names. I send voice notes. This is another strategy that I do. Send voice note and works very well for me in terms of retail and individual sales. And actually, for everything, imagine that, for example, a huge brand like CVS, now I'm seeing a CVS product. So this one I have in my head. So imagine that CVS can call you by your name and can send you voice notes. Can you imagine that? So this is an amazing way to effective personalize responses. But if we are talking about a small business, that we can have more access to our database and deal with the customers one by one, imagine how amazing is that this organization can call you by your name. This is something else. It's something else. So they have this in mind. If you have, a lot of you have projects that are incubating, starting, or you are exploring the options that you have, think about this part, because it's gonna give you a lot of success if you think about that. So another way to increase your online visibility is the consistency. This is one of the most important words that we always mention in this class, because consistency is the key in terms of interactive and direct marketing activities. Consistency is the key. I always say that all the time, in person and also in the YouTube scenario. Consistency. What that means? Every single day, every single time, every single moment. Of course, everybody is busy doing different kind of project. It's practically impossible if we are dealing with a small business as a project. We don't have the time to be online 24 hours, of course, no, right? But that's why another tool that I always show you is your statistics. Your statistics will allow you to see. Let me go with you, if I can show you the properties of the phone. So if you go to your in your phone and also in your computer, and if you check your insights in your accounts, you are able to see how many accounts you reach, what times they connect the best. Look at this. It's gonna tell you everything. It's gonna tell you sorry, it's gonna tell you how the times that they connect the most. One second. If you are able to see the statistics of your social media, you just have to go to setting. And remember, always, if you want to follow up your statistic, your phone must be in your social media must be professional. It's another advice that I always give you. Put your social media professional, and this will allow to see you what times, what hours your audience is connected in your social media. So this is the moment that you will be reaching them. If we are talking about 11 or 12 p.m., 11 a.m. and 12 p.m., those are the times that in general you will see more audience connected. And also, if we talk about between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., 5, 6, including 7, those are the times that you can, in certain products, in majority, let's say majority in general, we will have more audience connect. So those are the moments that we need to have in mind, that we have to make the efforts in our advertising techniques, advertising posts, every single activity that we do on the web. As soon as you keep practicing, as soon as you keep posting, as soon as you keep in contact with your customer, clients, audience, prospects, of course, that you will learn more, and you will detect those times that are the best for them to receive the communications that you have for them. So something important to think about. We always talking about that in the classroom. Press release distribution to build credibility. So here, using when we say the traditional newspaper, or every single effort that you do to become an expert in the area that you are communicating. If we are talking about childcare, if we are talking about fashion, some of you are interested in fashion, education, healthcare, pets, for example, beauty or communications, technology. Some of you are attracted to the technology industry. So those are aspects that we, as soon as we become experts in the area, experts, people that have experience and knowledge about this area, this is something that builds your credibility as a professional in this sector. So how you can build your good standing, how you can build your credibility in the society. First of all, with this position, consistency. We are coming back to the consistency again. And also, we are talking about these interviews that you got in the web, this, as it says here, the press release, every single opportunity that you can be in a conference networking, every single opportunity that you can get to show you as a professional, as an expert in the area, don't lose it. That's why I always tell you, visit the Chamber of Commerce in your sector, visit the Chamber of Commerce in your area, look on the web, which one is closer to your facilities, to your location, and you can use those resources in your favor, because as soon as you can connect, network, or basically be in interact with this population, you also can create a founding that builds your creativity. But how you can do it? Remember these things, put it to work in your favor, because documentation of every aspect usually LinkedIn, we spoke about LinkedIn sometimes. So linking, sorry, that's the best way to pronounce it. So linking is a great source, great opportunity to connect and to develop the credibility that you have in your area. Something important to think about: achieve network growth and through personalized invitations on social media. Something more or less that we have been talking about: network, interacting with others. Okay, through personalized invitation. How you can personalize invitation? Simple, with the names, preference, knowing all of this part. Are you still there? Stay in the call. This is why recording class is a challenge, because if I am talking and everything, you can lose the connection very easy. Okay, maximize the use of visual content to boost sharing. Visual content we create in this classroom, we create infographic, we create presentation, we create advertising. All of these aspects impacts and helps in the visual content. Canva.com, as I always tell you, is a great tool, especially for the ones that are not exposed to the graphic design like me. Canva.com allow us to create designs without experience as graphic designer. But if you have knowledge or experience in freehand Photoshop, those are aspects, those are systems that help you to develop the visual content. Also, for example, right now with the technology, is not difficult for us as marketers, administrators, to have access to the visual content, not only with Canva.com. There are more tools for free available. Canva is a free tool, but if you want to go deep in the design and use another kind of templates and everything, of course, we'll ask you for certain amount of payment. Actually, if I don't, I have it for payment, but I forgot, but it's about $15 per month. If you are interested in getting more resources for Canva, some of you are more engaged with freehand, Photoshop, etc. So those are great sources that you can use for your designs. Visual videos, people. Videos are the most important right now. If we're gonna talk about communication strategies, video, record your face. Yes, record your face. I don't like to record my face. I prefer to have a AI a model talking. There is something now that is being explored and is having a lot of success. So, but my advice for you, don't lose the opportunity to deal with a new project, which is recording yourself, because it's going to allow you to learn a lot about your market. It's going to allow you to break your comfort zone, and it's going to allow you to learn many things, including public speaking, including, Yelka, but I'm not talking in public in this moment. No, you're right. You're not talking in public. You are just recording yourself alone, probably at home. But those skills that you develop when you're recording yourself constantly, daily, etc., will allow you to do a better job when we have to talk to the mass. Because if you are dealing with certain project in certain time of your life, you have to talk in public. I know that this is one of the parts that everybody's more scared. That's why we have a public speaking class for bachelors here in Reformed. But it's very important that you have this in your mind, because if you want to go further in your life, if you want to move forward, if you want to learn new things, it's always important to manage your comfort zone and start to dealing with the public. But one way that you can start, I know it's scary for us, including myself, but if you want to start, record yourself talking about those topics that you have experienced. There is many things, and I am sure about it because I know you in person, and I know you have many skills that you can provide to the society, and start to record yourself. And there are many things that you interest about, so that you know, that you have experience with. Talk about it. If you don't have idea, I will tell you, record yourself. I will tell you, just open the video and record yourself. Record yourself, and once you keep practicing, you will see that you will get better and that you can get better equipments and everything. But start with what you have. If it's an old phone Nokia from 1999, record yourself with this, because we cannot be waiting for everything become perfect in order to start our projects. Remember, if you start your project now, you can save life. You can improve people life. You can improve people, projects, families, and everything with the product, service, knowledge, and the organizations that you have in your mind. So that's why, as I always say, interactive and direct marketing will take you to the next level in every single project that you have in your head. And everything is about the purpose of serving, right? So interactive and direct marketing will take you to this place. Use guest blogging to showcase your story. Right now, as you can tell, how much important is giving life stories. Did you notice all the influencers we have on the web right now? Do you notice how they communicate their life? Do you notice that when you're looking those videos, because I know you look at them, and a lot of you are this school, I noticed the students are friends of Instagram, they love it. Do you notice how they communicate everything on Instagram? It's a whole about lifestyle, about living, about the daily living of people. So think about these people, because this is practically everything in terms of how we tell stories to our audience. The lifestyles, daily life of people. That's what I'm talking about. And offer actionable advice to potential customer. What is that? Something that we always mention in the class. It's about value content. Create content that is valuable, that is useful, that the customers, the audience can use in their life. Something big about why if I tell them all my secrets, they will know how I do the things, and they will copy me, and they will do whatever. People, don't put those ideas in your head. Everything is created, everything exists already in YouTube. You're not telling anything new to anybody. So don't hide your knowledge, don't hide your content to your customer, because you can give a lot to the society and you can monetize this content that you provide as soon as you are consistent, and you can design courses, and you can design content, monetize. When I say monetize, obtain resources, money for these courses, content, and knowledge that you have to offer to the others. But start offering value content to them is basic, is fundamental. If we don't offer value content, there is nothing to do. Right now, the society that we are living is thirsty for valuable content, and is thirsty about having information, education, and also they are looking for entertainment. So if you can provide them one of those, you will be sure that you will get the attention of your audience, and of course obtain monetize these efforts that you are doing. But of course it needs focus, it needs concentration, and this needs consistency. And the consistency will take you to the perfection that you will need to develop the content that we are talking about. Because with just a little cell phone and recording you every day is not going to be enough right now in the world that we are living today. If you go to TikTok strategies, you will see now, and we talked about this before, about the horizontal format. The horizontal format in TikTok, it's trying to do a next move. I don't know how much success they will have right now with this format, but they are trying to move to this, and they are trying to, how I can say, to give more exposure to the creators that are doing horizontal content. But this horizontal content is not the same quality that the vertical content. It will need more investment on equipment. It will need more investment in time and resources that the regular video that we create in TikTok. TikTok has been known as very easy strategy to create audience. I can tell that as soon as you are consistent, you can grow fast in TikTok. Before, right now is getting more exigent the market, because they are looking for longer videos and they are looking for more quality now in TikTok. That's the reality. Before it was less, let's say, less exigent, but now it's getting more and more. So again, consistency will be fundamental, because this consistency will take you to the next level. Let's go with the next advice. But what those aspects that we mentioned here are the aspects about brand awareness. Brand awareness, how to be part of the mind of your customer, how to be present, how to be engaged, how to interact, and create direct communication that can attract them, and we can monetize this presence on the web. Define the objective. The first step is to be quite clear about what you want to achieve. Do you want to sell your product or service direct? That is ask for an order now. Persuade prospect to send more information for more information. Right now, you will see in this content a lot of data about personal sales that was more common before with our friend internet, of course, interactive and direct marketing tools using the technology will let you know how the market have been changed right now, because all of these strategies we can do it directly with the customer using the technology. I encourage prospect to visit your shop when we are talking about direct sales or office. I still use those strategies, direct sales, and they give me result. I told you before. Invite them to a demonstration or other event, still use it. Also, including in the North of America, yes, they are popular, the demonstration in person for different kind of product. Yes. How to, if, and I know if I ask you, think about those demonstrations like that you have been before here in the North of America, US. I know you will have a lot of examples for me. So, how to increase response to more creative work? There are different ways that we will see here in this class. Define a clear objective. I always talking about objectives in the classroom because this is one of the things that I know the executives must have clear. Many executives with experience, they don't have idea how to develop clear objectives. What is that? And when you are in the real life, clear objective is just a sentence. It's just one sentence, very simple sentence. To grow 25% during the first trimester of the year 2025 in sales retail. Bye. It's just one sentence, something that you can measure, something that is easy to prove that you did it or not, something that is point to the goal that you have. It's a goal, and that's it. And it's a goal that have to be measurable. So that's when we are talking about objectives. So if I am here on the chat, I'm gonna type for something to develop a marketing campaign, via social media, Instagram. I write it everything in caps. Instagram, showing how to use the. I'm gonna talk about air fryer because I was in air fryer before. So air fryer, just to create an example for you, very simple, okay? Showing how to use the air fryer during January 25, reaching, let me say that I will reach 100 prospects. That's it. To develop a marketing campaign via social media, Instagram, showing how to use the air fryer during January 25, reaching 120,000 prospects. Bye. That's the example of an objective. Clear objective, when it's going to happen, how I'm going to do it. Bye. That's it. And in this moment that I create a strategy, how is this video is gonna be. For example, I'm gonna cook certain, I don't know, I'm thinking French fries now. So French fries, right? So I will exactly select what will be my communication, right? Think about this. Objectives have to be simple. Objectives have to be very simple, people. So don't overthink on that. because sometimes I notice that you overthink a lot. This is how we create the objective, and I give you examples all the time about that. So this is not new. I'm showing here in the chat. And define a clear objective at the start will help you to decide how much information you need to convey. A one-stage proposition usually requires lots of detail because you are intending to move the prospect through all the stages of buying a single communication. They have to be given everything they need to know to make a purchase decision. With two-stage promotions, you can usually less copy all your advertising. Advertisement must do is persuade prospects to call or send for more information. So at the end, what we want is to obtain, to create a relationship, to contact, to make them contact us as their solution for the situation, the problem, because at the end, you are providing them a solution for the problem they have, for profit or non-profit. It doesn't matter if it's an organization that is dealing with altruistic cause, or we are talking about a for-profit organization that is basically selling product or service. At the end, we want to solve a problem of the society, and we want to serve those customers, this audience. We want to provide them solution. All of your advertising must do is persuade prospect to call or send for more information, because that's at the end what you want, to contact them, to they contact you, to engage them with your product, service, etc. Another factor governing the amount of information necessary is the knowledge already held by your prospect. So as soon as your prospect knows you more, of course, they will be more attracted to your product, service, to your organization, even profit or non-profit. People read for as long as they are interested and no longer. What that means? Long copy. When we are talking about this content that is amazing long, that is very extensive, that doesn't have, the customer don't have the opportunity to understand, like this slide that I have right here is so long. So you will lose the interest on reading or listening every single content that is long. Like this conference, this class is long, and I know it's a challenge for you to keep you here all the time that I am preparing this class. I am know about this. That's what I am alone here, right? So right now, but again, it's the same as I always tell you. People read for as long as they are interested and no longer. Thus, long copy is appropriate for some circumstance and not for others. In an on-stage situation, long copy will often be needed if sometimes you will need long copy, depending what product you have. Certain products will need more explanation when you are buying, let's say you are investing in certain kind of product. Think about those products that will be will need more a long copy. Products that are more specialized, right? Products that are technology systems that you will buy for your company, business to business sector, will need more explanation, because we are not talking about $300 investment. We are talking about 300 million, right? Or 300,000. So it's something that we will need some certain copy. You are addressing a new prospect who may never have heard of your company or your product. Also, your product, it's a complex one, like we were saying before. So there are many factors. We are talking about industry, new machinery, new investment in drilling machine for a construction sector, etc., etc. For production, machinery for production. Your product is a complex one. So there are many factors which must be explained to the prospect. Your product is totally new. Vaccine for COVID, when the vaccine come, you remember how much information you were looking. And now they are talking about the vaccine for AIDS. I don't know how to say it in English the word HIV. That's the English acronym, right? So uh, uh, immunodeficiency virus, right? So we are talking about the vaccine now. Those are kind of products that, of course, we need a lot of explanation, a lot of data to explain to the customer, right? Let's keep going and think about those products when you read a lot. It's not the same when you buy a marker like this marker I have in my hand, like when you buy a fridge or when you buy a car or you buy a home or again machinery for your business, or let's say that you're buying a system, Oracle database system, CRM, and you are buying a new logistic warehouse system and all of that, you will need a lot of data. You will need a lot of information, writing documents. Probably you will have a brochure, a long, infographic like you create for the class, etc., etc. So all of this kind of information, right? It's gonna become more complex as soon as your product is more sophisticated, expensive, it's a huge investment. So there are many factors which must be explained to the prospect. When your product is new, we mentioned that. Therefore, unknown event to establish customer. And there is a product that sometimes we don't know. Your audience likes to read long copy. Sometimes your product is focusing this market of people that they are readers. They are readers. Think about it. Think about those products when we are saying they are readers, right? This might sound unlikely, but World Wildlife Fund addressed some letters to establish donors who want to know, oh, now that this is talking about donors, there was one moment that I was dealing with certain donation. Um, Actually, I have the name in my head, but not in English. But it's when you make a donation about your sales. So it needs a lot of reading because you want to know how it works, right? Donors want to know what is being done with their money. The letters were invariable there or 4 pages, like when you are donating money to UNICEF or Compassion Group or certain shelter. You maybe want to know some stuff about the patients, the individuals that are in the facility. Maybe if you are donating, when there is this donation, donate for a cause, you adopt a child, etc. Maybe you want to know about this. The letters were invariable 3 or 4 pages long, and far from being unacceptable to recipients, they actually generate seizable response from people saying how much they appreciate hearing all the news. Writing copy. The key to writing effective copy is to think about your prospect and imagine you are face to face with them. What do you need to tell them to persuade them to buy your product? What questions they will ask? If you can list the key question, your copy will almost write itself because it's simple series of answers of this question. Copy length and complexity will vary according to several factors. The natural corollary is that we should not write the same copy to everyone. The key difference between mail shots and effective targeted communications is that the former assume that all prospects are the same, Where has the letter address, the information is of each individual. So writing a copy now is less frustrating because you know you have the sources of the artificial intelligence that will help you to create content. Anyway, with all of the artificial intelligence that exists, you will see that human labor, human mind, human mentality, human brain, it's very important in the writing copy, even with all of these AI resources. So 10% that not only AI will be the solution for copy. Actually, is requested if you log in certain freelance builder all is a solution that you can check where they will request you as human. Wilderall is a webpage, wilderall.com. It's a webpage that you and me can offer our service in copywriting. Yes. So it's not that the main human brain on the copywriting, 10%, 10%. So again, the key to writing effective copy is to think about your prospect and imagine you are face to face with them. What do you need to tell them to persuade them to buy your product? What questions they will ask? If you can list the key question, your copy will almost write itself. That means if you can create solutions for them with your copy, you are practically done, right? So the copy complexity, like we mentioned before, is attached to certain aspect because some products will request longer copies than other. Some product, think about certain famous product, McDonald's, I love it, right? Always Coca-Cola. This is the claim for Coca-Cola, right? And also, if you think in there are many copies that we can look together. Let me show you. Copies, copy, writing, claim, more popular. Let me see if we can get some. Let me see if we can get some. Look at this. Let me see here. Maybe we can find some. Yeah, but this is not what I was looking for. I was looking for some examples for you. That's what I wanted to see. Look at this here. The best time for posting Facebook, we were talking about this, is 11 a.m. Social target audience access, social media platform via mobile. Right now, look how high is the level of mobile, 99%. 99% of global internet use age 16 to 64 in a social network. Internet users spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes in social media each day. I think this is more than that. 11 world headlines receive the most shares across Facebook and Twitter. 52% of people prefer visual content that is 3 to 6 minutes long. 55%, this is a good infographic here, data for infographic. 45% of people find instructional and informational videos by internet search. 85% of marketers rank short form videos as most effective social media content in 2021. 64% of marketers plan to invest more in short form video in 22. Let me get one of you here because I wanted to see. I was trying to get one of you because Okay, so here we have 64% of marketers plan to invest more in short form video. 82 of marketers report post content across various social media channels. Of course, this is all the time looking for how I can say this, for new strategies. Let me see, because this is not what I wanted to do with you. ¿Ves? I forgot the word I want. Slogans all the time. Let me check that with you, because that's what I wanted to look for you. Apple, but it doesn't say what I want. I was looking for something for you. Let's use this one. Let's use this one because we're taking a long time of this slogan. Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. So this is one of the claims that we have, the copyright, right? Nike, just do it. Just do it. Simple. You see how simple is the copyright? All Spice, the original. If your grandfather hadn't worn it, you won't exist. This is All Spice, all the deodorant brand, everything. De Beers at Diamond is forever. Simple and to the point. MasterCard, there are some things money can buy, but for everything else, there is MasterCard. Very important. Samsung, do what you can't. Do what you can't. Dollar Shave Club, our blades are great and shave time, save money. So those are some how we can say that slogans, copywriting. We are talking about copywriting. So those are the ones. This is one of you. I'm talking with one of you. So, okay, we are in BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Allstate, your good hands. This is insurance. Uber, move the way you want. Another one, interesting. Capital One, what is in your wallet? Capital, it's a credit card service. Rutis, reduce your carbon footprint in style, footwear company. Staple. This is one of you here. And Marriott Bonvoy Rewards Reimagine. Kellogg's Rice Krispies. This is I'm trying to talk with one of you here. That's why I make a little pause. Kellogg's Rice Krispie Snap Crackle Pop. So Gatorade is eating new? Is a question. And Kentucky Fried Chicken. Sorry, finger licking good. Compass, let us guide you home. Airbnb, belong anywhere. Those are another kind of slogans that are very popular. Verizon, can you hear me now? Good. Dunkin' Donuts, American runs Dunkin'. So they are, you see, they are trying to become healthy brand because, you know, donuts has been know it like a brand that is not very healthy. You know, donuts are popular because they are fattening or they are made with flour. So, of course, it's not as healthy as other products. So that's why they are trying to make it better. With this breakfast of champion, Lay's Pera can just eat one. Taco Bell, think outside the box. The keyword don't crack under pressure. This is trying to get one of you. Uh, Here, Walmart, save money, life better. Toyota, let's go places. Wrigley, double mean gum, double your pleasure, double your fun. Here, Burger King, have it your way. American Express, don't life without it. And etc., etc. Okay, make it memorable. Communicate clear benefits. Differentiate your brand. Design your slogan and logo together to make it unified, right? Leave a positive feeling about your brand. And also, there are many aspects that we need to have in consideration. Clear communication. Make it simple. Make it simple, right? Things that we mentioned before. Developing a creative online. Once you have established your objective, you can develop your creative outline as follows. Objective, confirming what you have decided above. Target audience, a clear definition of your audience is needed here. Offer, what you will make the audience respond in the way you wish. Should you use one stage or two? Timing, when are they likely to be interested? Medium, this is will depend on who they are. Existing customers will generally be approached using mail, email. It depends the needs of your customer. It depends what product you are dealing with, etc., etc. Okay. So also we mentioned again every single aspect I mentioned. We need to have in mind the social media impact on every single strategy. So don't forget that. Creative online. Now it's more than important than ever to be creative online. As I say, when we started, we are in the war for the attention. War for the attention. Everybody wants your attention, even me. Everybody wants your attention. So that's why creative online, and you as marketers, as business owners also, you want the attention of your audience, of your clients, of your prospects, of the community. Okay, prospects using one of more, actually, there is a Vistapreneur here talking about marketing. Prospects using one or more of broadcasts, press advertising, door-to-door leaflets, loose in or bound in inserts, direct mailing, email, and the internet. Creative approach, your message and how it can be delivered. For example, your approach to copy length, long or short, will vary according your objective. Target audience, offer, existing relationships, and the complexity of the product. We mentioned that before too. Direct mail, longer copy. Consider the components of any mailing. Here, this is a little bit more traditional because they are talking about mailing. Still, especially here in US, the USPS, United States Postal Service is still giving us certain kind of letters every day, right? And you will see different kind of designs. So those are the parts that they are talking about here. Also, when we are talking about social media, important to think about this. Broadcast type text, shorter copy, direct mail, longer copy. So consider the components of any mailing, such envelopes, color, message. Have you noticed a lot of letters that you receive looks like handwriting, right? They are trying to get your attention. Leaflet, one purpose, leaflet two, etc. And methods of reply. Okay, implementation, production or copy, artwork, films, and so on. selection of suppliers, including printers, computer, bureau, response forecasts, your estimates of volume and plans for efficient handling and dispatch of material orders, follow up, what that means, what the creativity that we put in this sector, in creating communication with your audience, managing response. What is this? You remember that I always talk to you about in other classes about call to action. Call to action. What is your call to action? What is that? That's it. Managing response. How your customer, your client, your audience will reach you as a source of the solution that they need. How they call you, how they text you, how they access to your web page. All of these aspects are part of the managing response. So business need constant supply of new leads. How we can get those new leads? We can get those new leads creating valuable content, and they can subscribe to your newsletter. They can send emails requesting discounts. They can subscribe to certain lists where they receive certain information depending what we offer. All of these aspects are part of the managing response. If you go to any online store, you will see the first thing that will pop up is a discount. If you 10% in your first buy, because they are looking for what? For your email. They are looking for your email. They are looking for your phone number. They are looking to get you. And that's the way they manage the response. Business need a constant supply of new leads. But with limited resources, it is important not to generate inquiries you cannot handle quick and efficiently. Take your customer to your territory. Take them to your WhatsApp. Take them to your webpage. Take them to your database. That's we are talking about this every week in this class since day one. Therefore, you need to put your WhatsApp business. That's something I always tell you. Put your WhatsApp business. Take them to WhatsApp. Take them to somewhere else. Not only talk with them in Instagram. Take them their WhatsApp. Take them emails. You know? Therefore, you need to estimate response very careful, and it's necessary face your mailing or advertising program so that the flow of leads is easily manageable without you having resort to expensive overtime of external resources. By sending out control number of mailing. Bielka, but mailing, why now? You have your social media tool that you can create certain newsletters, certain advertising, and broadcast. That's what I am telling you, have WhatsApp business, because with WhatsApp business, you can broadcast and send message to them. That's how you manage response. Okay, another more modern way. Right? And especially if you are starting with your project and you have a small, medium business that you have to deal with many things at the same time, this is a great way. You remember we use SurveyMonkey, we use MailChimp for mailing. So this is another strategy that you can have in your mind. The quantity of, by sending out control numbers of emails, mailings, etc., advertising each week, business gains two advantages. One, the quantity of leads. What is leads? People interested in your business. That's what that means, leads. So for example, I was working with this school. They invest a lot in leads, a lot of money. And they have certain ways to get leads. One, they buy leads. There are certain companies that give you leads, contact names, etc. to providing content where they subscribe, they request for more information. Now you got the lead. Okay, so there are many ways you can get your leads, organically and also payment. The quantity of leads received is manageable. Each lead can be followed up quickly, ensuring maximum conversion. What is conversion? Making this, I'm losing my voice. talking here. I have 1 hour nonstop. I don't know why, because I do this all day and I am okay, but now I'm losing my voice. The quantity of leads received is manageable, and also each lead can be followed quickly, ensuring maximum conversion. A badly handled inquiry can do more than lose you a single sale. It may have you first contact with a potentially huge customer. Planning your communication. At the end, what we want to say here, if someone's in a view, admit. Inar, I have you here. I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you something about now you are here. Now Inara come. Inara, because you are here, I'm going to stop because I was just explaining the topic, but I'm going to stop because you are here and I'm going to show you about the QR code. So we're going to practice together. I cannot hear you, but I guess you can hear me. I'm going to have the chat open in case you want to say something and I can see what you want to say. You are free to talk, you are free to write in the chat, whatever you want, okay? But in the meantime, you tell me something if you want. I will go to the QR code real quick. So I show you this because I know that you want to see this. Let me go to the lesson that belongs to the QR code. I'm going to go to assignment. I hope you are listening to me, but it's called a QR code. So interactive and direct marketing practice QR code. I'm gonna view the course as a student, so you are seeing what I see. Let me put it bigger. I'm gonna put it bigger real quick here. So this is the assignment of QR code. And then that's what you see, right? When you are in the QR code. Video to do the assignment here in the minute 108. So this is a video I create before to do the QR code. And there are several QR code generators. I'm reading the second paragraph, right? There are several QR code generators for free on the web. They can connect the physical world with the virtual world. That's the beautiful thing of the QR code. Like I have you here in front of me, and I can send you to my shop, to my store, to my business, etc. Even if you are not here with me, like now we are in this interactive, in the video, I can send you my QR code through the web or email or show you here, and you can go everywhere I want that you see. So let's go together to the QR code link. This is the QR code generator.com. QR is I don't know how to say this word. I hope, let me copy this on the chat. Let me copy this on the chat because I'm not listening to you. I don't know if you want to say something. Feel free to talk if you want. If the system don't let you, you can write me on the chat. If you can see this website, if you can click on that and go with me, it's going to be good because I can teach you a little bit about QR code. Maybe you know already. I know you already did with Instagram, but I want that you see this one too. And you are able to see this. You are able to write me on the chat. You can tell me something or no. I don't know. If you can tell me something on the chat, write to me something, let me know. Just go at the end of your screen. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 icons in the corner, in the right corner of your screen. One is like exclamation sign. Other one is, she's not here. She left. Maybe she have problem. Anyway, let me go back to the lesson. Let me go back to the lesson. Because Inara is not here. And she wanted to know about QR codes. But I think she had some issues. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. We are here. How to increase response through effective, creative work. an interactive practice. So let's go to the content that we were looking, planning your communication. This is something that you have experienced because together we already planned the communication. So many people find it useful to devise a checklist when planning the design of a communication. We can consider the desired sequence of events. The first step is to attract attention. In advertisement, apart from any consideration of size, timing, and position, you will do this through a combination of headline, size and wording, and pictures. When writing headlines and design advertisements, it can be useful to ask someone to look at your work. What is that? So it's asking for you to have a second opinion when we create advertising pieces. That's it. If you are an agency, a leader, worker, etc., if you work in advertising industry, you will have a whole team of creativity. You will have the director of creativity. You will have the assistant or the, it's called, I forgot the name. I was working in agency, but I forgot the name of the next person is the assistant. And then we have the copywriter. And then we have creative designers. And we have many of them, depending how big is the agency. You can have 5, 7, 10, 11, 20, more than that. And also you have a production coordinator or director. So you have the production coordinator plus the production director. So plus executive account, plus the assistant of the executive account. Plus you will have, you will have media management. You will have a lot of people in the agency. So those are some of the positions that you will have. And those positions you can do. All of these activities you can do in marketing and in advertising. I was doing account executive in advertising. Those are the persons that are in relation with the customer. And they must know about marketing certain way because they are exposed with the customer, with the needs of the client, transfer them to the creative team, and then make sure the customer receive. When I'm saying the customer is a business, right? A business, for example, Coca-Cola. So if Coca-Cola, I'm the executive account of Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola tell me, okay, we're going to create a campaign and we want create some videos for social media. I don't know. So then I communicate this to creativity, and creativity produce a piece with my guidance as executive, account executive. So I deal with that, and then I show this piece to the customer. It's more than public relation, vendor, etc. Dealing with the client directly, period. So anyway, let's keep going. And also, this is good that I keep talking a little bit about the account executive, because the account executive also it's somebody that is more in control of the organization. You know what the organization needs and how the advertising will help them to go to the next level. So many people find it useful to devise a checklist when planning the design of a communication. We can consider the desired sequence of events. The first step is to attract attention. In an advertising, apart from any consideration of size, timing, and position, you will do to this through a combination of headline, size, and wording and pictures. When writing headlines and designing advertisements, it can be useful to ask someone to look at your work and tell you that they take out of it. It's also too easy to attract attention with a stopper, which is leaving totally the wrong impression in the mind of your reader. Okay, so something important to think about. Let me see if I'm recording well here. Yes. If you have questions during this presentation, like if you are seeing this, send me a message. You have my WhatsApp. I will put my WhatsApp again here on the screen just in case if somebody needs. I know everybody have it, but just in case. And also, let me keep going here with the content for today. The essential elements of a direct response advertisement. There are broadly three types of advertising. Awareness advertising, the objective here is to increase awareness or influence opinions. This form of advertising does not invite a response and will often not even carry a response address. Direct response advertising, the objective is to generate a lead by use of an offer. Remember, a lead is interest person that is interested in your business, in your organization. Direct response advertisements include response address, telephone, etc., email. Those carrying a coupon tend to attract more attention. Dual purpose advertising, where there is primarily a second objective, for example, an awareness advertisement, which carries a telephone number or address, will often attract large numbers of response, requests for further information, and so on. Equally, an advertising whose principal objective is to generate inquiries can have a measurable effect on attitudes and awareness of a product or service. So this is this part we are talking here. Let me show you something real quick. Here, we're gonna go to see some content here. Let me show you. Okay. So let me show you this information here. One second. Let me put this slide. I am here with you. I will show you just a second some information and we will keep discussing, okay?
Tracks perfect and it's your equal for your business, or just your creative process. We're going to dive into Crystal on this element of his psychology series.
Okay, let's go back again.
Attraction marketing. You want to stick around for that. So let's just jump right into it, Chris. When you say attract, if you want to learn the ins and outs of how to make content that attracts, first into your ecosystem, whether that's for your business, for your product, or for just your creative process, we're going to dive with Crisco on this fifth element of his psychology series, attraction marketing. You want to stick around for this. So let's just jump right into it, Chris. When you say attraction marketing, what is it? For me, attraction marketing is between a couple different principles, maybe where one is direct outreach sales, which is how you do outbound sales strategies, and even as much creative content marketing, where you create content and over a period of time attracts the right type of clients to you. Ideally, this is what I would recommend to every single person to build the personal brand and leadership authority. People don't
have that kind of runway, so they need more tangible results. So they can't afford to do this for 3, 5, 7 years. So this is a hybrid approach that lives in between more outbound reach sales approach versus more in content marketing, personal brand building.
When we talk about sales and outreach, I think behaviors that you have to do to ensure that you get that kind of result.
Cold calling people, cold email messaging people. The next version of that is something like this. Did you see this framework being used by a lot of people? I do this, I help clients do this, you need help with this, talk to me now. So it's very clear, very transactional, hyper focused. You spoke to recently on LinkedIn on a live LinkedIn audio conversation, teaching people how to sales using LinkedIn. Period. And the premise was how to go create content to get customers. It's like most of what I do teaches principles are direct sales via social media, more specifically on LinkedIn. Very rarely I see a piece from them on personal stories, of what he's going through. It just wants people to know associated with the idea of direct sales strategies using LinkedIn specifically.
So even while he's making content, which you could argue is the inbound one, like you said, direct sales practices in there. So it's going to visit his page. I know what this man does, I know what he says. Either I'm interested or not. I have a feeling.
Yeah, on his page, one of the strategies he talks about is everyone is looking at his profile. It's a prompt for him to reach out. So he's constantly looking at his profile, saying, "Hey, because you're looking at my profile, is there any need help?" And this is a very effective sales strategy. So if you don't know this, you can use the basic function or aim for the more premium version, which allows you to see more of who's looking at you and what they're doing. This is the practice of which works with, which is no one's going to look at your profile picture unless they saw something good, either as a comment to another post or something that you posted. They're trying to connect who you are. It's not by random chance. It's not like I'm scrolling through profiles randomly on LinkedIn. So the minute somebody touches it, means that for some reason they're curious, they're interested, and they want to see who the heck you are. It's a great way for you to turn the warm person of interest to something that's much more.
And on the other side of this coin is what's called content marketing specifically. You said it was a long game. Help me understand the difference, because there was a little bit of content marketing in that for example. So how is content marketing different than sales and outreach that is more outbound based?
This is more of an inbound strategy, which is more of what I do, what many content creators, designer creative I do, which is we create sometimes visual, sometimes us demonstrating what it is that we do. For example, if I like to draw, James Martin likes to draw. So he does this, draws logos, and he makes funny videos, sometimes he dances, and it just lets people know about what it is we're doing. There's no call to action, there's no hard sell, there's not even a soft sell. And it presenting his work over time, making followers, and some of those followers might be people who want to buy a logo from him. And so then the focus is on them to reach out to Jim saying, "Hey, I love what you do. How much is it?" And I'll give you an example. This is a real life example, right? I was going through my Instagram and I'm looking at this typographic animation thing. And Instagram knows they're like typography, design, and animation. And I see this thing and it's pretty cool. It's an animated typographic poster on a busboard or something. And then it's a tutorial of how to create this effect using gradients and After Effects. I instantly follow this person and I reach out their DMs. So I say, "Hey, how much does it cost to do that thing for something I'm looking at?" This person gave me a price. He said $3,000, $3,000. I said, "The most I have is 3K. Is this something we can do?" And he's like, "Yes." He said, "We'll send you a proposal. Let's go." He wasn't looking for me as a client per se, but by demonstrating he does, his expertise, his artistic skill, his personality, he's able to attract people to you. There's no direct correlation to that post, seeing it, reaching out.
I want to just share for the audience the key distinction here. If you are doing sales outreach behaviors, you are inquiring to the end consumers. You are going to the client first. When you're doing content marketing, if you were quickly doing it, as Chris mentioned, it's a hybrid approach. Audience is inquiring because of all the goodwill put out there. Talk to me about what the hybrid approach would look like, because like you said earlier, not everybody has the bandwidth and hardware to sit there and just make content without ever asking. So what would the hybrid approach look like between these two? Say what comes.
I think that's what we're going to talk about in terms of what we're planning on doing for workshops. Because I realize people don't have the luxury of creating content for the sake of creating content, but perhaps they're creating content with a poor strategy to begin with. So you could create content for 100 years and zero inquiries from people. I'm a big believer in building thought leadership, building up your personal brand. And I'll tell you philosophically what Richard Pace and I want to present this so that each person can determine where do you live on the spectrum. If you look at our YouTube channel, this is where I'm watching, we created over 18. That's a lot of videos. And most of the videos won't ask for anything. We're not trying to get you to sign up for anything. And you feel the genuine nature of our generosity, and we build a relationship with you. We're just is looking for a client and looking at the actions that I take that lead to the result that I want. His whole thing is like, I'm here to optimize my workday to generate money or clients for my business. So when you do a very targeted approach like this, I'm looking for clients, you're going to be more successful at hitting those clients. When you're taking a broader approach like myself, like I'm broadcast content out there, because I think I have an idea of who you are and what your struggles are. I'm going to hit you, I'm going to hit 3 of your friends, people I didn't know I was going to hit. And it's not as targeted. So in the short term, we're going to bet who's going to win this race. You're going to put all your money on the guy win too. He's going to make more money in the short term. But if you step back and say, who's going to make more money, who's more valuable, who's going to be a key person for 3, 5, 6, 25 years from now, it's not so clear right now. Because we got this community, we created value, and we created a lot of goodwill. You create goodwill, people give you the benefit of the doubt. They're willing to become, for a better term, a super fan. They're on the road to becoming a super fan. Well, they'll support you in everything that you do, whether you drop a t-shirt, a poster, or you show up to get an event, they'll go out and they'll buy tickets because they feel personal connection to you. So one model is more transactional. I do something with this thing, I will provide this to you in exchange for money. My model is more transformational, it's more transactional. I will put some money or correlation to my efforts on a one-to-one relationship. But I believe what I'm doing is value. Here's where it gets real interesting. People like Kylie Jenner, Rock, have built a lifetime of either content or goodwill or relationship with someone. And then where they cash in is The Rock has Tequila line, which is worth a couple $100 million. Same thing with Conor McGregor, probably did Irish whiskey. So they've been doing something. We get to know them, we get to like and trust them, and then when they ask for something, you're willing to buy, and they're worth so much.
I feel like you may have heard him say the word workshop. He's going into a deep dive explanation of all of this across the European tour, which will start in April. So if you're interested in doing something like that, you enjoyed these 5 video series, that is something that I would highly encourage you to look in the description. Before we go into the hybrid approach, where I understood that is, the first one is a strictly sales approach, the transaction. Next one is a brand approach. So where at any point, once you've given so much goodwill, you can technically sell anything if it aligns with your brand, because the audience trusts your brand and the things that you do for your product. My question is, what are the things that someone needs to consider when they decide which campaign and how they get their marketing? I don't want to be clear, you don't have to pick one or the other. You can both. And actually create content that's transactional and create richer content that's transformational. But you start to muddy up the waters a little bit because sometimes you're selling and sometimes you're not. And I guess we do some version of that. If you are in need of money, but you can't eat, you can't pay rent, you owe money for taxes, your partner's going to leave you, your children are in rags, you need to focus on building a business. You don't have the luxury of the runway that it's going to take to build up with your community, your audience, and potentially some of your customers. You got to take care of your business first. So in that case, I'm going to recommend that you go for more direct sales approach, more outbound strategy. Here's some of the things you have to decipher about how they don't need one way. Once you have your basic taken care of, we're not talking about living a life of and having fancy sports cars, but you have money for rent, food, you have a little nest egg in case bad things happen in your rainy day fund. You're going to really important to you have to think about where do I want to 5, 10 years from now, and you move into someone building. So this usually is chronological, like in terms of how this usually develops, but not always. You've got some training, whether it's self-taught or you learn it in university. You're a practitioner that think that you learn and able to do that for a period of time. And you might have branched off on your own. So we're not talking about someone who's 14 years old trying to build authority. That's a little bit ridiculous. So you're maybe in your mid-20s, late 20s, or 30s, somewhere in there where you start to think about, well, what's my future like? Not always going to want to chase clients the way that you do. It's not long-term sustainable. So this is not how you're in a place where I have things I've learned, things that I can share. Inside, I have documentation. I have proof of things I've been able to do. It's the time to start to share that. And the way that I would do it is I would start to share that with younger versions. And that's a great way to play. So we're not thinking about clients. We're not thinking about our competitors. We're just saying, what would the younger version of myself want or needs to know? Because they have a lot of heartache. You start to distill those life lessons down, resources, whatever it is. You're going to speak to this person.
why I said your younger self is because you know this person already. You know their habits, you know their resistance, you know the way they think about learning. Sometimes they have a difficult time in writing great content because you have like pictures of who the person is. Well, this person you know because you spent all this time of your life with this person. It's you. Maybe you can talk about a mentor or a teacher they've yet to be learning from this person, and you can set it down a timeline, if you will. Here's a cool one. There is a younger version of you out there that is not you. And if it's a big enough audience, they'll show up for it. They're really excited and they're going to get pumped up. They like your style, your tone, your delivery, your experience, your aesthetic, and they're hungry for kind of content.
I'm so glad that you answered that question because I personally struggled in the early stages and only leaning on brand whenever asked when I wasn't in a position to only lean on brand. The reason why I asked you that question because there's a listener out there right now who unfortunately, because I love this person well, Gary Vee says just give value. Just give, never ask. Even though he says ask at the thing, but it's never really clear when I should ask, and then that person listening scapegoats their fear of selling or their lack of wanting to ask. Like, well, I'm just building my brand. You need to build your business to make income. It's not a bad thing to be transactional to survive. And we're also giving value to the other person because then giving value and we're getting actually need something. I think, Chris, start to feel that disingenuousness. You're like building a brand, but you also want to transact. And then it just brings resentment in the person who's doing that.
There's a lot that you said there. Part I'm going to zero in on is this part. Some people mistakenly mix these two strategies. They think one, they execute like the other. Give you an example. You really want sales, you're transactional, you're starting. If you're playing a long content game, you actually don't behave like that. So you're actually not giving value. He said, you fail disguise, and most people get right through.
Yes.
And I think it's better that you recognize who you are, where you're at in life, be super clear and transparent. Because you're not fooling anybody. You and I follow people, and maybe some of them where all they seem to be doing is selling to you all the time. And you need that service. If you want that piece of information, you're going to support it. You're going to say, I want to reach out to you. Let's do work. I want to follow you. Oftentimes, especially I find it myself that you need a sale and I'm not here to buy anything. So no problem. I'm going to tune you out for a while. I'll check in with you 3, 6, 9 months, but I'm just fine for what I'm going to talk about. And that's the danger wanting to sell to people all the time. It's hard to argue that the person is selling all the time when you're putting a whole lot of money away. Different relationship.
So let's talk about this model that you've been exploring, which we've been the hybrid approach. Where do these two worlds coexist in your thinking?
Everyone starts with creating something that's valuable to someone. It starts really there. You say like create high value content. Like, what teach me something I didn't that I haven't seen 1,000. Or share something I know, but in a way that I've never seen. Deliver in a way that I think is funny. Interesting. Example. There's a guy who's like pop history where he speaks in language of like, oh, that cat's at this girl, it's that movies, plays that are literature that are just hard for the everyday person to understand because of like funky tech using some like old English, you know. And so he takes this. So he's an African American. He talks about it. I'm like, this is super entertaining. So he's taking the story, presenting it to us in a way that's new and novel and different. It's a similar concept. It's like drunken history, and these are experts, and so they loosen up. They're having libations, and they're like, "Oh, okay, so it's like this." And they get to arguments. It's kind of funny to watch. So first, spend the time, identify a resource, a tool, a guide, a study, and package it. Package it in your voice, your tone, the colors and logos of your company, whatever it is. Package it. And that's how you can determine the high value content. What is the market rate for this piece? Like, what would someone usually pay to know? And if you pay 0, then that is worth it. So if your target is something about 30 to have a worth of value, that's good. Some people might then underestimate and say, well, not that valuable. Well, let's not overcorrect here. We just want to have an honest conversation if you were to ask a friend to think that you should pay money for this and how much would you pay, and they give you an honest answer, then you know. So I spent a month and a half designing, figuring out something. Let's just say whatever it is. Now I want to share that with people. It's going to help them. It's going to make their life easier. It's going to get them closer to their goals. Now, I'm not going to just upload a PDF, say download the whole thing. I want to build a little report. I want to use the social channels to my benefit. So what I'll do is I'll extract some of the high value nuggets from this guide, this report, whatever it is. I'm going to talk about it. And let's say something like, for example, if you write email copy and you're doing direct sales via email, you figure out the 100 subject lines that have the highest open rates, and you run 1,000 campaigns. So you have some evidence for that part about your displacing your back when you've done set proven evidence. You can then jump on a platform like and say, here are 3 subject lines that are guaranteed to outperform anything that you're writing. You would give it to them. Explain why. So you're adding a little more meat on the bones. And then you could say something like, I've actually just finished writing the top 100 highest performing subject lines over a 4-year period, 10,000 campaigns tested. I'm going to give it to you for free, no strings attached. Just comment this word below so I know. This is the hybrid approach. This is also Richard's approach, by the way. That's valuable. I've created interest. The way that you've written it is super enticing, and the value already in this. So naturally, people are like, cheers, I want it. So good. What did the other 97 look like? And so now what you've done is you've asked the audience to self-identify. I'm a person who writes emails and clients, and I need to know what subject lines were. If somebody's not interested in that, they're not going to read your post. They're not going to engage with you. They're definitely not going to comment below whatever the magic phrase is. Now they've identified, and now they're giving you to reach out to them. Quite literally, they're saying, yo, I want the rest of this, please. You can say something like, hey, I just wanted to provide this resource to you. Thank you for downloading it. I'm curious, is there a problem that you're trying to solve? It doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. Or out of interest, was there anything that caught your eye? What part stood out for you? And if it feels like they're aligned with their problem, then you should escalate and you can ask for the next thing. And the next thing they could ask for is, I have 3 time slots available next week where I spend 25 minutes helping people just like diagnose their email campaign. This is of interest to you. So if you're asking them to make very small commitments, where each time they engage, you're going to give increasing amounts of value. This is the classic structure, permission marketing by Toyota. So what we're doing in this modern age of social media is we're asking for people to volunteer to enroll in a long-term marketing campaign where with each interaction that we go deeper, we get increasing amounts of value. So the first piece of value is here are the 3 highest performing subject lines for email campaign. Here is the 97 remaining pieces of value for the highest performing subject lines for email campaign. And now I would love to give you a diagnosis that's free to you. So look at what you're doing to discuss what your goals and challenges are, to see if I might be able to solve them. And if they agree to that Zoom call or whatever it may be, then now you can diagnose, provide more value. And at this point, you can then tell them at the end of this, I'm going to tell you about a way that we can work together, all the details right to you. So you're telling them this is a sales call, but not I'm going to find a high pressure thing to you, sort of park it at the end only if you're interested. And that prospect side, I think we need to help the plan with them. And that's how you go from strangers to friends and friends to customers. That's the process. That's attraction marketing.
So if someone were to like use the hybrid approach, I love it. I want to do it. What should be their first course of action on the thing that they get right before they say, okay, I need a free sample. I need a funnel. I need the DMs. Like, what do they need to get right first?
Your audience, who is it marketing to? Do they have an urgent desire to solve a very uncomfortable pain point? Do they have the means to be able to buy a solution to? If they don't have the means, it's not any good. So you can solve a problem for someone, but they can't afford the solution. It's not going to really work. So, for example, if somebody is in like the lower income bracket and needs to go from point A to point B to go to work, but they're at a place where they have credit, where they have a down payment, or they can contemplate buying a car. They don't really care how sophisticated your funnel, your marketing campaign is. They just can't buy a car. Really, what you should do is be solving other kinds of transportation problems for them. Maybe a month-long path that allows them to take any form of transportation. They should be focused on that. Or what many industrial designers and urban planning are trying to figure out is something called the last mile. You can take public transportation, but it's not last mile closest where we have to walk somewhere to work, a park, to a restaurant. So they make electric scooters, they make all kinds of devices to get you past that last mile. And that's what they're focused on, because they're not going to inherently change the infrastructure for the transportation, but we can make it easier for you from the stop in which you get off at to where you need to be. But that's where they need to focus their energy.
The energy that you need to focus for the hybrid approach of attraction marketing market. Watch the last 4 videos so you can dial in your attraction marketing for it to be effective. If you have one last question, and I'll leave you to take it wherever you want to take it. What will get wrong when trying to execute this hybrid approach that you are seeing often, and you think people should avoid making this mistake?
I don't see so many people taking the hybrid approach. You know, many people on the one side of the spectrum or the other, where they're really about building quote unquote brand, where they're just doing full sales all the time. we don't see a lot of sophisticated things in the middle, because being in the middle is very difficult, because not only do you have to understand how to do direct sales, but you also have to want to make content that attracts to you as a firm that is going to be valuable. And so there are going to be inherently fewer people who do that because they're not aware of convenience, money. So I don't really have an easy answer for you. I think that answer was sufficient. It is probably still not as long of a game as strictly built and bringing money, but it is a sophisticated game that will be challenging at first. But when you master it, the upside is crazy. I mean, look at Chris. Maybe the word is not mastered, but you have done an exceptional job doing that. Okay, gang, that is the end of the 5-part series of the 5 core essentials to build your business as a creative freelancer. If you enjoyed the series, go back to the last 4 videos, read them as many times as you want, ask questions in the comments. But I did want to leave some time at the end of this video. If you've gotten value and are still here with us, for Chris to just say a few words about the European tour that's coming up, for him to teach these principles very, very in depth, get as much value as possible. So if you're still here, check that out, and we'll see you in the next video. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for making it all the way to the end. We know there's a high drop-off rate. The fact that you're still here says a lot to me about who you are and connecting to the content. What a lot of people don't realize about me and where I came from is before I did a YouTube video, I taught at private art schools for 15 years. Before I taught at a private art school, I ran a business for an even longer period of time. So I was running a successful motion design business for 5 years prior to thinking about teaching. I've come to realize about myself, my identity, I thought was for a very long time a service provider, one who makes commercials, graphic design, visual things for people. But I was asking a deeper identity, which was one of an educator. When people used to ask me, who are you, Chris? I'm a designer. I would say that everywhere I would go. I took great pride in that. But today when people ask me, what are you, what do you do? I don't pause so much anymore. I just say, I'm a teacher. That's connected to who I am. Over the last 2.5 years, it's been very difficult, not on us, but on every single person on the planet because of COVID. And recently, I went out and I was speaking again in person. I kind of did a passion inside of me that made me feel so alive. And so when I was doing a workshop tour in Australia, I felt more alive than in a long time. Hear me say things like, I'm grateful for something. I live to grow. So when I'm out there teaching, there was a quote here. I was interviewed recently, and I was like, I really like this. Here we go. I feel like you teach for yourself to practice for your students. I say to them, I think there's this economy of teaching, and it's simultaneously a selfish act and an act of generosity. When I teach, I'm sharing my goods, if you will, to the people or the person that's in front of me. Right? I'm sharing with you, like, here are tools. Here's the right here. Here's a big reframe, or here's how you would phrase this so that you have to deal with this friction point. Doing so, what the person who's asking the question is unaware of is they're extracting, deducing something from me, which is a piece of information that I didn't even know I had. And doing so, I learned something about myself. I went through a eyes light up. I'm like, wow, okay, I have another way of explaining it to you. And here's the cool part of like live teaching, which is one person will say something and they accept your answer, but the other person's like, wait a minute, I don't accept it. How about this? How about this? How about this? You get different angles, so you have a much clearer picture as to what's not working. So you explain it in slightly different ways, or in a whole different way. It's a very long way of saying something. So I focus a lot when I'm teaching people in person, and so we decided to try a concept. We're not an event production company, but I was really filled with joy and life. My creative soul was fulfilled, and I was really good. Why wouldn't we try this? What's the workshops? I'll get full 8 hours of teaching on 2 different subjects versus smashing everything I don't put in 4 hours or Europe and world. It's 7 days. Tickets are filling up really fast now, so the college sold out in the station because I hope to be able to see there. I feel deep inside my heart, and if you're willing to show your best effort, what we're teaching will be transformation. The transactions happen by transformations that you receive will far exceed the amount that you pay. So we'll see you in your end. Is that right? Ciao.
As you can see, there are several.
We were talking about personal branding.
As you can see, there are several advice that these experts are giving you here in the marketing area. We spoke about providing value content, something that we speak all the time in the classroom. And remember also another concept that I want to recover from this video is the permission marketing. Permission marketing, so where you set up a call, depending the product. For example, I have this kind of experience with web page designers. So you have this meeting, a Zoom meeting, and they offer you this follow-up for free. Of course, they speak with you. And of course, let's see how this works, the permission marketing. Amazing. So it's a great tool that depending the needs of your product or service, you can implement in your business. So let's keep talking because we have some things pending. The essential elements of a direct response advertisement. There are broadly 3 types of advertising: awareness. We saw that more or less in the video that we just looked. The objective here is to increase awareness or influence opinions. This form of advertising does not invite a response and will often not even carry a response address. Direct response advertising, the objective is to generate a response or lead, but use an offer. Many things that we saw in this video, right, related to this direct response advertising include response address, telephone numbers, and email. Those carrying coupon tend to attract more attention. Did you notice when you receive a coupon, depending your interest, how much you can be engaged with that coupon? For example, in awareness advertising, which carries a telephone number or address, will often attract large number of responses, requests for further information, and so on. Equally, an advertising whose principal objective is to generate inquiries can have measurable effect on attitudes and awareness of a product or service. Awareness advertising, this type of advertising is still widely used. Widely used all through companies who have test and research sector type. Dual purpose. And when we say dual purpose, it's interactive advertising. Have found that brand and image objectives can be achieved from interest readers. More than this, however, some studies have shown that response advertisement will reply coupons achieve higher awareness scores than their mainstream equivalent. So this is when we speak about awareness advertising and also direct response advertising. The critical success factors for direct response advertising are largely the same as for direct mail, but the way they interact and the precise emphasis of reach varies slightly. The targeting, when we say targeting, what we are talking about, the focus, the customer that you are working with, the customer that you are focused in your business, organization, for profit, non-profit. All form of advertising, the message can only work if it reaches the right person. What is the right person? The person that takes the decision for buying. You say sometime, a lot of time, you tell me, Bielka, but my customer is everybody. I'm focusing women, in men, in children, in elderly, in matures. Yes, but there is one person that buy your product or service or that support your cause. Who is, let's say, elderly home care. If we are talking about elderly home care, who take the decision to put an elderly family member in a home? Is this usually daughters and sons? Usually is mature person between 35-40 that take the decision, 50 that take the decision to put their father or mother in a home. It's not them, it's their son and daughters. So those are your customers. You got my point. So, and this is the advertising and every communication that you have to work with is with this population. So, therefore, a first step is to select the right publication. Offer the main product message, terms and promotional factor, for example, discounts. Timing and frequency. This is an issue when it's very different for advertisement and opposed to mailing, mainly because we cannot vary the exposure of the message according our prospects' ideal timing. Therefore, we tend to vary the exposure of the message according to our prospect ideal timing. And we tend the time our sections or first of it times of peak interest or demand. Creative. Ultra creative is correctly placed in relationship to other factors, such as simple listing is not totally appropriate for press advertising. In a newspaper or magazine, the creative treatment may be a crucial factor in targeting the reader. And also, we are talking about here, without an attractive headline displayed the correct manner, the prospect may not even see the advertisement. Response mechanics. The main purpose of response devices is to make it easy for the prospects to reply. In this case, we cannot fill the name and address of the prospect, but we must do all we can to facilitate the process. We must also give the postal address, telephone, fax number, email, and website address where possible. So this is about the direct response advertising. Timing and frequency. Timing, what is the timing to create the advertising in the right time? Right now, let's go to social media. 12 o'clock. We are talking about pizza. A lot of you love pizza because every time I make a survey with you, you told me, I love pizza, I love pizza. So if we are talking about the timing for an advertising for pizza, we need to think about when the people is hungry. When the people is hungry. It's not at 12 p.m. It's at 11 when they are thinking in what they're going to eat. 11. At night time when they eat the dinner. We are talking about some people between 7 p.m., etc. Don't put your advertising at 7 because they are in front of the food. Put it at 5. Put it at 6. Okay, timing is very important, but unlikely in direct communication, we cannot vary this for individual segment of the audience. Now, with the internet, you have more and more tools that you can use in your favor and create advertising at the same time that your audience is connected using the devices. So timing is very important. We cannot vary this for individual segments of the audience. This means that we may need to run the same advertising several times to be sure that a large proportion of our prospects have opportunity to see the advertisement at a time appropriate to them. Alternatively, we might try to deal with this problem by breaking down the communication process into a stage. With a target and appropriate timing mailing, we may attempt to move the reader in one stage. With an advertisement, we cannot be confident of getting the timing exactly right. So unless our offer is one which is likely to appeal to a sizable proportion of the audience at any time, we may well consider a two-stage approach. That's when we are talking now timing. Timing, the correct time, frequency, how much they will receive this communication. And when I say they, is your target, your audience, the public that you are working with. Remember, the persons that take the decision are fundamental. Planning your communication. Many people find it useful to devise a checklist when planning the design of communication checklist one by one, right? We can consider the desired sequence of events. The first task is to attract attention. Remember, now we say in the market of attention. In an advertising, a part of any consideration of size, timing, and position, we will do this through a combination of headlines, size, and wording, and pictures. When writing headlines or designing advertising, it can be useful to ask someone to look at your work and tell you what they take out of it. It's also too easy to attract attention with a stopper while list. Something here. It's the mouse. It's the mouse that is, it have a red light. I was saying, what is going on? So remember also, while is leaving totally the wrong impression, the mind of your reader as the example, right? Creative. I mentioned it, the creative aspects of a direct response advertising, interact with the other issues, and creative is some ways the most vital consideration. Rules for successful direct response advertising. A direct response advertising is an action-oriented communication calling for a response from the prospect. To be successful, it must conform to certain rules, which should only be broken after careful testing. So this is when we're talking about creative. The crucial difference between a mailing and advertising is targeting. Targeting is fundamental because it's where you focus all your energy or your efforts or your budget to your targeting. The crucial difference between mailing and advertising is targeting. If you have done your research carefully, you should be able to vary your mailing copy for different segments of your audience. So planning mailing gives some thought as how you may be able to make these variations cross-effectively, efficiently. Remember that now with the social media, it's easier than to work with mailing and it's less common, but still. But don't forget about the social media impact. So planning your advertising, your campaign in social media or in person, we have maybe useful raw elements that are necessary to communicate. Okay, so more information about the envelope, about the communication in mailing, etc. Something that is less common now, still, but thinking your social media strategies too. The essential of a good response device, feel you should make it easy for the respondent giving us choice or really options. This is something I always enforce in you, mention a lot all the time. Call to action, because if you put just an advertising with no way they can shop, no way they can contact, no way they can get more information about you, email you, text you, have a message, send them to WhatsApp, etc. This is the good response device. Let them decide which is most convenient. Some claim that offering a choice of response method can confuse the respondent. So giving them plenty of options, plenty of information will confuse your audience. This is something basic in communication, and it's basic in the interactive and direct marketing strategy. Don't forget the basic. See, if you give 300 options to the customer, it will be more difficult, of course, to maintain a reliable communication with your audience. Don't forget this part. Here, let's keep going. So first, you should make it easy for the respondent by giving a choice of reply option, telephone, post, etc. Let them decide when it's most convenient. We say that. Some claim that offering choice of response methods can confuse the respondent. We mentioned that. But the fact remains that response tend to increase when a choice is offered. Put yourself in respondent place, how they would like to respond. As soon as you keep learning from them and you keep doing your exercise, you will get more data and you will do better job in order to attract your customer. Don't forget this part too, because that's why I always will talk to you about consistency, because as soon as you learn about your customer, about your audience, about your target, about the prospects, about the community, you will have the better option to talk with them, communicate with them, how they respond faster and better and easier. If maybe it's for messages, maybe it's WhatsApp, maybe it's the system from communication from Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you name it. Maybe you will need beacons website. to create a certain amount of links so they can reach you. There is something we can do also in the classroom to show you how beacons work, and you create your profile using beacons. Beacons, very important. Let me write this in the chat. Beacons. .com, because this is another way for another tool for interactive and direct marketing that I wanted to show in person. Actually, I show you a little bit in the classroom in person, but maybe I need to give you a little more explanation. You can use it because it's a free tool and will be good for your projects, your business, your organizations, and the projects that we create here in the school. So anyway, but let's keep going because we are almost done in this time, this long class, right? They have a speech problem, and they have a hearing problem. What that means? Adapt to the customer needs. They have a name which no one can spell or pronounce. They just do not like using the telephone. There are some, what you are reading right now, what you are listening right now is the challenge that your customer have in order to reach you. Okay, so that's why sometimes they we will not, tend to contact you because they have certain needs that we need to take care. To develop successful creative work, take care of your objectives, target audience, offer, timing, medium, creative approach, implementation, response, forecast, and follow-up. The way this process works was explained using example. We have seen the implementation generates a regular and manageable supply of leads. And also when designing a direct marketing communication, we noted that the desired sequence of events attract attention, establish relevance, convince the prospect of benefits, also close the sale, and confirm the action to be taken and take the order. Take the order because at the end, what we want is to sell, to provide, to create sales, to monetize. That's the interest, and also to obtain resources. Even if it's non-profit and for-profit, we are looking for the resources that we need for our organization. Let me see you what else we have in this chapter. We cover all the material, etc. This is another video that you have here. And also, let's see the review, complete activity 12. Let's see it together. So defining a clear objective at the start will help you to decide how much information you need to convey. Okay, objective, very important. Organize the process to develop a creative outline. Objective is target audience, offer, timing, medium, creative approach, implementation, response, forecast, and follow-up. Today, I didn't create so interactive activity. I just going directly to the point because I have been talking like for 2 hours nonstop practically, and I will show you this part so you can have it right. The ones that goes until here, which is not gonna be so much people, but those that go until here have this advantage, right? So dual purpose advertising, this is something that we mentioned before. The dual purpose advertising, where there is a primary and secondary objective. For example, an awareness advertising which carries telephone number or address will often attract large number of response, requests for further information, and so on. Equally, an advertising whose principal objective is to generate inquiries, have measurable effect on attitudes and awareness of a product or service. This is called dual purpose. And the direct response advertising is the objective to generate a response lead by use of an offer. Direct response advertisements include response address, telephone, and fax number and email address. Those carrying a coupon tend to attract more attention. We call it direct response advertising. The objective here is to increase awareness or influence opinion. This form of advertising does not invite a response and will often not even carry a response address. That's what causes awareness. So what is this? Creating expectation in your customer awareness, creating teaser. We call it teaser too in advertising, like suspense. Timing is very important. We mentioned that, but unlikely in direct communication. We cannot vary this for individual segments of the audience. This means that we may need to run the same advertisement several times to be sure that a large proportion of our prospects have an opportunity to see the advertising at a time appropriate to them. It's called timing. Let's organize the sequence. And this is the sequence for designing marketing communication. The desired sequence of events is attract attention, establish relevance, combines the prospect benefits, close the sale, confirm the action to be taken, and to take the order. We mentioned that too just now. And the critical factors in creating successful response advertising were described as targeting, the offer, timing, the creative, the response mechanics. Also, use testimonials. They are always more believable than your own claims. This is true. And the last one, and you know how successful is the advertising in testimonial. TikTok is the best example on that. Amazon is moving to this part too. You will see as Amazon creator, if you have seen this. I don't know, some of you sell in Amazon, you know this. I must say, some of you are exposed to this. You've seen before. So this is something that testimonial cover. The creative aspect of advertising interact with each of the other issues, and this is in some ways the most vital consideration. This is called creativity. So creativity is the creative aspect of advertising interact with each other and the other issues. So this is the creativity is the last one. Some of you did it already, 35. You have some retakes and you can, check this and do the best you can in order to be successful in your assignments, in everything, right? So I will leave you this part here. And also I want to share another one with you here. Let me share this one. I'm gonna be on hide for a second. Give me a moment. I'm here with you guys. Let me put the camera because just in case. Here, I'm here. Okay. Take advantage and also try to do your assignments as soon as possible because the semester is almost over. We are in the week 12 now. This is the content for week 12 and week 15, the system closed. So please, please, please keep doing your best so you, you have success in the semester because I want all of you completing all the assignments. So let's keep moving on this, okay? Let's keep moving on this. I'm gonna show you a little bit of content and then I'm gonna come back to talk with you, okay? Let me show you some strategies so to enrich the content here and you keep learning the best possible, okay? So let me go entire screen, share. I'm gonna share my screen again. Next week, I think I will show you beacons.com so you can have this experience. I want that you have it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, let me show you. The marketing strategies that I want to leave you today. These videos are very important because they are very updated. Okay, let me show you real quick. I have a situation with my audio here. That's why I take some time. Exactly. So 1, 2, 3, I will start to show you, okay?
Dicho esto, profundicemos. Ahora, lo que están viendo aquí es el tipo de creación original detrás, o sea,
This is like a...
lío de palabras, ideas y pensamientos arrojados al papel al típico estilo Adam, por supuesto. Soy un poco perfeccionista, todavía trabajo en eso. De todos modos, lo limpié un poco. Hice un...
Está hablando, is talking like in Spanish. I don't know why. That's why I'm trying to fix it.
Lo limpié un poco.
Mm.
Hola. En este episodio, voy a desglosar 15 desencadenantes psicológicos y sesgos. Hola, soy Adam, y hoy quiero guiarte a
Okay,
través
let
de
me
10 consejos,
change this.
tácticas y estrategias de marketing o, más bien, darte un marco y una guía que puedes usar para desarrollar un marketing
One
que
second,
funcione, que
please.
transforme, que sea rentable y te ayude a hacer crecer.
Okay, I'm here. I'm back. I was having a little issue here. Almost done. We almost done. Okay, we almost reaching the 2.5 hours. So we almost done with this class. Let me give you a few minutes of content here. I will start to share my screen and I'm going to show you some content for a few minutes after we close and cover all the time we need. I spoke a lot with all of you. I show you the activities, and that's all we have, the only activity we have. So I will let you go with this last presentation, a content that is called What Makes People Buy, Price and Value Masterclass with Ron Baker. That's the last activity I will do with you. I hope you have a great week. Everybody have my phone. I put it there. So I'm going to let you go with this last information, this last couple minutes that we have left, okay? Have a good night. I will share my screen a few seconds. Entire screen.
SeaWorld, Universal Studios. I mean, there's a ton. And, what is it about these companies? Well, it's because they're focused obsessively on value to the customer and the customer experience. And that's what gives them that pricing power.
And I'm like, okay, Ron makes a great point. I've been looking at this all the wrong way. I've been focused too much on this very self-centered idea of like what it costs me to make and the labor and what I should charge. I first want to just thank two people in particular, Hector Garcia for connecting us, because without him, this would not be possible. And also for another gentleman, which I've been heavily nosotros, como especialistas en marketing.
Why does Disney command higher prices than amusement parks? They're right down the street. SeaWorld, Universal Studios. I mean, there's a ton. And, what is it about these companies? Well, it's because they're focused obsessively on value to the customer and the customer experience. And that's what gives them that pricing power.
I'm like, okay, Ron makes a great point. I've been looking at this all the wrong way. I've been focused too much on this very self-centered idea of like what it costs me to make and the labor and what I should charge. I first want to just thank two people in particular, Hector Garcia for connecting us, because without him, this would not be possible. And also for another gentleman, which I've been heavily influenced by. His name is Blair Enns. I'm reading his books on pricing, and your name is mentioned, I believe, on his podcast. He refers to your book, Implementing Value Pricing, as canon. And I like to go to the source. I feel like I'm getting a little closer to the source, the fountain of knowledge. And it's you. And
Talking
I'm
about his
excited.
back,
So Ron,
it's
for people
his
who don't
book
know who
here.
you are, can you please introduce yourself?
Ron Baker,
Ron
recovered
Baker,
CPA.
that's his name.
Started my life in a Big 8 accounting firm. And by the way, Chris, that's how you carbon date a CPA. They say Big 8, 6, Big 5,
Yeah.
Big 4. Well, I'm Big 8, so that gives you a sense of the era I'm from. But I knew I wanted to be a CPA at 15. So, went to college and got my certificate, worked a couple of years in public accounting, then went out, started my own firm. And it was there that I realized billing by the hour was a really crappy customer experience. And so in 1989, me and my partner, we just decided we're going to do fixed prices. There was nobody out there talking about it, at least in the professional space. There were no books, no courses, no consultants ever advocated it. Everybody was in for billable power in the timesheet. And we just said this is a crappy customer experience because the unpredictability of a price is just unacceptable. It just goes against everything we know about how consumers buy and how unions buy. We want to know the price before we buy, so we make that all important value price comparison. And we just started doing it. We made every mistake under the sun, but it was a customer service that got me into this. It wasn't the economics. I got into the economics later, as you see in the book, but it was really what we now call experience. But back then we called it TQS,
It's all
total
about the
quality service. I was
experience,
studying companies like Nordstrom, Lexus, Disney, LLP, FedEx. I wanted to emulate their customer service spirit, and that's why we did it, and it worked great.
There's so many things here I wanted to dig into a little bit. You said at 15 you wanted to be CPA. That's unusual for a lot of different reasons. I have that kind of clarity, but why CPA? What is it about your life and your life experiences that told you this is what you need to be?
Probably goes back to middle school, so ninth grade for me, probably sitting at my dad. My dad was a barber, so I learned business from the inside of a barber chair, essentially. And we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I was pretty good with math, and I would help him fill out his deposit slips because I could add really fast. And I saw an envelope there, and it said Pizzeni and Brinker, certified public accountants. And I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, what's a certified public accountant? He said, somebody who charges a lot of money. And that stuck with me. And so when I went into high school, I had a great accounting teacher. His name was Angelo Catalani. He had a 2-year, just a 1-year, but a 2-year accounting program, which I did. And then the third year, was his teacher's assistant. He would bring in CPAs. He taught us how to do taxes. So I started a tax business in high school. I started up an accounting practice in high school. I did my dad's books. I did a bunch of his friends. I represented people before the IRS, all at 16, 17 years old. That's how I put myself through college. And I was doing a timesheet because every talked to said, well, you can track your time. You got to have an hourly rate, blah, 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 blah. Get into the big 8, do a timesheet, hourly rate. Never questioned it until I started my own firm. And then I said, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And we changed it.
Now, I know your background is as a CPA and you also minored in economics. And the book, I love the book. And I tell people, anybody who's willing to listen to me, you need to read the book and put into value pricing. And the reason why is because every single page, it feels like I need to stop, pause, reflect, write down, understand, process. And it's that kind of book. And it's a little intimidating, I have to say, for a number of different reasons. One is it $5 on Amazon, which is pricey for a book, but I gotta tell you what's inside is worth 10x that, maybe 100x that. If you implement just a few of the key ideas and concepts, and for people in my world that are in the creative services space, the ideas that you talk about in the book are so counter what we've been taught in our lives. It's so revolutionary for people in the creative space to think like this, and I want to tackle some of that. And the reason why I want to do that too is because I've been talking about getting away from hourly billing, and to my surprise, people in my own community, they call me all kinds of names, not very nice names. And I'd like to adopt some of their attitudes for you to be able to address so that I can then just point to them and say, look at this video, listen to this podcast, and you're going to be set. Don't even take my word for it. Take it from a person who's lived in this space, who is as qualified as anybody ever to speak about this. And so can we jump into this?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So here's the thing is that for whatever reason, I think historically speaking, and I think you talk about this in the book, is that value has always been tied to labor. Why is that? And why is that such an antiquated, and I won't prime it so much. Like, tell me about that thought, and then please guide us through this process.
Right. I think in medieval English, acre, the word acre was how much land you could plow in a day or something, or in a morning. Yeah, we've always tied labor to value. This goes back, you can read things out of Aristotle, Plato, concept, but the person who really put a framework around it was Karl Marx, basically positing the labor theory of value that basically said, look, the value of anything, a commodity, product, or service is solely determined by the labor that goes into it. Well, okay, that's an interesting theory. The question is, does it explain how you and I spend money? So if Karl Marx was right, then a diamond or a rock found next to a diamond in a mine would be of equal value. After all, it took the miners just as much time and billable hours to find the rock as the diamond, but yet I don't see many rocks in jewelry store display cases. Raw land that has no labor and it trades every day for a fair market price. It's got no labor. If Marx was right, then the 20th slice of pizza that you eat or your 20th tequila shot should be just as valuable as your first or your second. Well, obviously, over time, as you consume more, it becomes less valuable. So Marx didn't take into account the customer. He only looked at it from the labor side and said labor hours. So it was really overthrowing that theory. And, when you replace a theory, you got to go somewhere. And the only place to go from one theory is to another theory. And so the correct theory of value is the subjective theory of value that says, no. There's nothing intrinsically valuable about anything except human life. Let's put that aside. We're talking commodities. There's no such thing as intrinsic value. People challenge me on this all the time. What about gold? What about Bitcoin? It's got no intrinsic value. If tomorrow we learn that gold was, a carcinogenic, its value would drop to zero. There's nothing intrinsic about value inside of a product or a service. It depends on the utility it provides to the consumer. So I think I was the first guy to really pull out the labor theory of value and equate that to the billable hour. And that branded me a heretic. I got a lot of enemies because of that. Basically, essentially, you're calling business people, your fellow colleagues, Marxists.
And it's a hard thing to get around because we continue to look at it from what we put into something versus what the customer gets. And it's a big part of your book because this isn't necessarily a blueprint on how you can take in reams and reams of money. It's really about how you can create greater impact and transformation for your clients. And the amount of money that you're able to build because of that is based on the impact that you create. I want to get back to this thing about this labor theory of value. So a common argument that's made within my community is that, and it seems to make sense from a POV, the harder it is for me to do something, the more valuable it should be. It feels like that. So if I have to get a degree to be able to practice something or a graduate degree, I put in a lot of time and energy, and therefore my price should be higher. It seems like that seems reasonable. And if I really work on a piece of design, a drawing, a blueprint, it takes me a year to design for a client, it should be worth a lot more in theory. So the example is something like this. A logo is relatively simple to create. You have some software, you pick out a nice typeface, you might tweak it a little bit. And so they think then it has a very low market cap. And so when I tell them large corporations like some that you mentioned, Nordstrom's, FedEx, they pay a lot of money for that logo. They can't understand this. So can you do a little deeper dive and just pretend like I'm one of those creative people who are like, no, it's like unethical. It's immoral to charge more than $400 for a logo because that's all it took to make.
Yeah, this is really interesting. This again goes right back to the labor theory of value versus subjective. But basically, when you really look at the chain, costs are determined by price. So price justifies the cost a business can expend. So I'll give you an example. Take a manufacturer that makes hats and coats. We all know that coat's going to probably 10 times the price of the hat. Is that because it costs the manufacturer 10 times more to make the coat than the hat? No, it's because consumers value the coat 10 times more than the hat. They're willing to pay a price that justifies the business spending the additional costs to make the coat. And so just like going to med school, people go to med school because the value of a doctor is so high, people are willing to pay a price that justifies their human capital investment, going into debt, buying insurance, all the things doctors have to do. So I think this is one of the hardest things for people who bill by the hour to get their head around. But cost does not determine price in the real world. Price justifies cost, because if it was true that cost plus, say, a profit margin, and then that determines a price, if that theory explained the way the world works, cost plus pricing, then no business would ever go bankrupt. After all, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to put a price above a cost. Right? Yet, why do businesses go bankrupt? Well, because it's subjective and customers change their mind on a dime. And one minute we're fondling our iPhones and the next we're off to something else, and value changes because it's completely subjective. It's in the hearts and minds of buyers. It has nothing to do with the effort. I mean, the books I've written, Chris, if I spent 10 years on them and didn't sell one and then ran around with a baseboard sign on me and said, you don't understand how hard I worked on this. Nobody cares. It's what have you done for me lately? What's the utility? What's the value for the customer? Stop boring me with your internal costs, your efforts, your struggles. I don't care about the outcome. Who cares how long it takes to build their car?
So is it too far to say that then those people who are fixated on what it costs them to make something, the labor that they apply to something, irrespective of the context and the value to the buyer, that they're actually being selfish and myopic in understanding this?
That's a great point. I believe so. I believe people who engage in plus pricing think the world owes them a living. Yeah, because I've got overhead, because I signed a lease, because I've hired employees, because I bought equipment. You have to pay for my costs, plus give me a decent profit.
Right.
Now we can argue over that profit margin, but I do think it's an entitlement. There's an entitlement mindset to it. Whereas in the free market, you got to produce value. It's your customers are the ultimate sports fans. What have you done for me lately? Right. And if you don't provide that value, then they decide which businesses go out and which businesses don't make it.
It's a nuanced way of looking at things. If truly valuable way to cost less profit, then why do companies go bankrupt? It's because sometimes, and actually often is the case, it costs you more to produce something and more labor involved than what the market is willing to pay for something. This happens all the time with cars, with real estate, with everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to talk about it a little bit more before we get into the solutions, because I think people are really in love with this idea of labor and value. Another question I have for you is, labor is attached to value. How does one explain luxury goods?
You can explain Apple. I don't think it costs Apple much to use my Apple here that I paid, I don't know, $3,500 than it does for HP or Dell, right? There may be some, cost rent. Paying a lot, certainly, but not with the iPhone or the iPad. Yet, why does Apple have such command and pricing power? And they can charge 5 times, 7 times more than Dell. Why does Disney command higher prices? Amusement parks, they're right down the street. SeaWorld, Universal Studios. I mean, there's a ton. And what is it about these companies? Well, it's because they're focused obsessively on value to the customer and the customer experience, and that's what gives them that pricing power.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. So assuming that we're fairly rational, logical creatures, that you have 2 similarly spec laptops, one from Dell, which is drastically different in price than Apple. So why does a rational person say, same processor, same amount of RAM, same video card, why would I be willing to pay maybe $800 premium or maybe even more for something that has a logo on it that looks like an Apple? What is the psychology behind that?
Yeah, I think it shows you the power of brands. People say brands are dead. I think that's the furthest thing from the truth. I think brands are important. They represent represent a promise, as you know. I think that, the price does reflect something about how the company perceives its own value. You never see Apple go on sale. You never see them offer, May Day parade sales or something. No, because they keep their pricing integrity aligned with their value. You never see Apple justify price increases because their costs went up. Every time I read in the paper now, every day now, you can read stories. Starbucks is raising their price because the cost of coffee went up. Well, I'm sorry, I'm the customer. I'm not Starbucks cost accountant. I don't care about their internal costs. Stop boring me. Either just shut the hell up and raise the price, or don't sit there and try and justify it on cost, because I don't care about your costs. And dear Mr. Starbucks, I'm not buying your costs. I'm buying a great cup of coffee or whatever it is, or a place to go.
I'm glad you corrected that, as all the coffee aficionados like,
no, I know it's a third way, the whole third way thing between home and office, yeah.
Right. So for you make the determination on whether a cup of coffee from Starbucks or anybody else is worth it to you. So at some point, they raise that cup of coffee to a price point which you're like, you know what, the experience, the feeling I get, the great place to go, the friends I might bump into, it's just not worth it to me anymore. And you, the buyer, you get to determine the value to you, right?
Absolutely. And Starbucks has to continuously test that and see how price sensitive their customers are and what the effect is on demand if they were to raise the price. And trust me, they know that. They study that continuously. I mean, it's a continuous process. But the point is that when I walk into a Starbucks and spend $5 on a latte, I only did that because it was worth more than $5 to me. Because if it wasn't, I could have stayed at home and made a cup of coffee for a dime. And yeah, Starbucks coffee is good, but is it 50 times more value than I can make at home? No. So really what's going on is anytime you see a transaction, both the buyer and the seller are making a profit. And how do we know this? It's very simple. It's a double thank you moment. You get the coffee, you hand over your $5. Both say thank you. If you both didn't think you were profiting from that transaction, wouldn't one person say you're welcome?
Right. I love that, the double thank you. So is it then possible for it to, such a thing to exist as an unfair price?
Yeah, this is why I have an ethics chapter in all the pricing books I've ever written, because the just price has been, again, go back to St. Thomas Aquinas for this and a bunch of Greek philosophers. I think a just price is one that buyer and seller freely agree to. Now, it's easy for a third and afterwards to say, well, that was an unconscionable price, or you took advantage of the person. Obviously, if there's fraud, perversion, violence, anything like that, that's an unjust price. Obviously, if there's price fixing or any violation of antitrust, that's not a fair price. But the problem with fair is there's no definition of fair. It's what a willing buyer and seller agree upon. I remember we had Reed Holden on, who's one of my pricing mentors, on our show, and he was complaining that second home somewhere, throwing a big party, and his ice maker went out on the refrigerator. And he called a repairman, and the guy said, well, I can come out same day, a couple hours, but it's going to be $300. He thought that was unbelievably unfair. And I said, did you pay it? And he said, well, yeah. And by definition, you must have thought it was more profitable than the $300 you paid him. So no, I even would go so far as to say anti-gouging laws are a stupid policy, like after hurricanes, because prices and signals about how we resources. When you've got a hurricane and you need lumber and generators and water and pop parts and other things, the only way to incentivize the person sitting on the couch in Ohio to get up from the football game and get in his truck and drive overtime down to a disaster zone is if the price goes up high enough to justify those additional costs of paying him overtime and all of that. I think it's fair price is what takes place between a willing buyer and a willing seller. I call it capitalist tax between consenting adults.
Okay, all right. I want to go back to your statement, pricing sends signals. So when we go and buy something, theoretically a commodity, and we look at something that costs a lot less, something that costs a lot more, from the buyer's perspective, what signals are being sent to them? How are they receiving that?
Well, that's an interesting question, because if you're talking about comparisons between companies or comparison within them, most companies will offer us three options, right? I just bought an Apple Watch and I had, there's the 5 and 7. So there's always an option, and then there's options within each one of those. So that's comparison within companies. But between companies, it's very, economists love to see markets that have a wide array of pricing. Think it's a system restaurant. Either everything would be McDonald's or everything would be Ruth's Chris, and there'd be nothing in between. Well, that's a healthy, dynamic bus market will have a panoply of price points and value propositions. Just look at the hotel industry, with all the different brands, Hilton Garden Inn or Marriott Courtyard or whatever, all the way up to Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons. That's a healthy market. So we like to see wide variations in price points. And then that means the business is going to have to figure out where they position themselves. Are you a Ruth Chris or you're a McDonald's? By the way, as Tim Williams taught me, my guru when it comes to the marketing world. Do you know Tim, Chris? Yeah, should get you together. Tim's brilliant. His ad agency was the one that did. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'll tell you a sad story about that. And I lost my train of thought. It was the wide array of pricing points that you have in the dynamic market. And that's a beautiful thing. And what Tim taught me is your brand can only stand for one thing. So you can't be Ruth Chris and McDonald's. Stop trying to be all things to all people. He's a big and put yourself in the box, specialization. By the way, he did that campaign. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, which of course changed the zeitgeist of the culture. I mean, movies were made in that title. He's put together a clip, like a 5-6 minute clip. I've seen it of comedians, late night comedians. It was Jay Leno at the time. I forget who was on Johnny, but around the world using that. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas as some type of joke. And when I first met Tim, I believe in 2003, I had read his first book, and I looked at him and said, "I just have one question, Tim. How did you price that campaign?" And he looked at me and then almost looked down at his shoes and just embarrassment and said, "By the hour." And I said, "How much money do you think you left on the table?" And he said, "Millions." They're still using it. So I think it was the Las Vegas Convention Bureau or something that they did it for. Sorry for the diversion, but
no, that's a great story. I love that. That goes back to some of the points that you're talking about, which is why we have this practice, this mindset around our value in billable hours. There's something in here that I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper in, which is Seth Godin wrote this book called All Marketers Are Liars. And we as the buyers of stuff are complicit in the lie. When we pour an expensive bottle of wine or brandy into a very expensive glass, we tell ourselves that it's better. When we go to an expensive restaurant or amusement park, we pay more for it. Tell ourselves this isn't worth it. Otherwise, we wouldn't pay for it, like your friend who had his refrigerator repaired. And so one of the things that I like to talk about is if you want better clients, just charge more, because the clients are going to say, you must be worth it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's some definite truth to that. I mean, high prices tend to signal that this has got to be high quality, right? It's a heuristic we all use. Even when we're comparing something within a company, like back to the Apple iWatch, I figure, well, the Apple 7 is the $800 watch. It's the most expensive. It's got to be the best. The latest technology is the fastest, got the most features, blah, 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 blah. So that's a heuristic that we all have. High price equals high quality, great experience, whatever it might be. We need to tap into that, but we also need to deliver. And it's got to be consistent with our positioning and our strategy and our purpose. There is nothing wrong with being a low price leader. It is an incredibly viable business model. Costco, Walmart, Southwest Airlines, H&R Block, McDonald's. We can go down the list of companies that don't necessarily compete on price, but offer kind of what's called penetration pricing, where they come in really cheap. And that's very the problem is in any one industry, there's not room for a lot of those folks. And it's a completely different business model. They have to be completely efficient. They have to constantly be on the lookout to save costs. And then not only save costs, but then pass those savings to their customers in the form of lower prices. That's a tough way to live. And I think it's no way to live in knowledge work, where it's creativity and we're selling our minds, not our hands. We're not making a product necessarily, where we're trading in intellectual capital. We just can't do that because we're not machines.
Okay, one more question in regards to this mindset. You've written that value is subjective and that price is contextual. If you interpret that, it means that you price the customer and not the job. So charging someone based on what they can afford, the relative impact it'll make on their business. It sounds like charge rich people more, charge poor people less. Is that the idea? And if that's the case, is that immoral and unethical?
Well, no, when you look at price discrimination, as it's called, and I mean that in the purest economic logic, vernacular sense, that term has been around since the 20s. So there's a lot of scholarship on it. If you look it up, like Google price discrimination, you'll see it's got a rich history. And if you think about it, without price discrimination, the ability to charge different customers different prices, irrespective of cost, to serve those customers, there's incredible welfare effects to an economy from price discrimination. If it wasn't for price discrimination, you wouldn't have senior discounts, you wouldn't have coupons, you wouldn't have children getting into Disney for cheaper or flying on an airplane cheaper. You wouldn't get expensive drugs into.
Well, we will stop it until here because we covered 2 hours and a half, more than that. So I will let you for this week. Remember, you can contact me, and I already explained you the activities for this week and everything. So be safe, be happy, and do your best because we are in week 12. So it's almost done. Move fast because I am grading the fastest possible, but usually we can. I know. So you will see new news week for your assignment. Okay. Have a good rest of the week and see you soon. Bye. See you, parts.